today's topic. We have discussed about the stack and what are the different operations present in the stack. How can we write the code corresponding to that? All those things we have discussed. Now, today we will be seeing about how the stacks can be used in a subroutine. Subroutine, I told already, that is functions. So, how the function call is happening and how the addresses will be transferring, that all things will be seeing in today's session. We can just go to the content. Subroutine is like what you have studied in C, the function, same thing. Instead of that, in assembly language programming, we will be using the term subroutine. Even methods, procedure, all will be having the same meaning. So we'll be moving into the subroutine part. So already we know that what is the use of a subroutine. It will be specifically doing a particular task and we want to repeatedly do the thing. So that time, instead of writing the code multiple times, we are just writing the code once. And whenever we need that particular operation, we are just calling that function or we are calling the subroutine for getting the work. So the things involved in this are mainly two operations are there. One is called calling the subroutine. That is just I am asking someone a question. So in the same way, I am just calling your name. In the same way, the whatever the program is executing in this that program will be calling the name of the subroutine. So that the subroutine will give you the task what is required for you. And when I am asking a question, that is the calling process. Similarly, you will be answering to my questions, that is the return process. So similarly, the main program or the program what you are having is calling the subroutine for getting certain works done. If the subroutine is a good subroutine, subroutine will give the result back to the main program. So that is called the returning the function or return from the subroutine or return from the function with the result of what the user is expecting or what the main program is expecting. So that are the two operations are involving in a subroutine. So what is a subroutine? That I told a specific task has written in as a program and that code may be using multiple times in the program. So that we will be called as a subroutine. Then we will be telling that mainly two operations are involving in this. One is called calling the subroutine, that is just calling your name or calling your uh, calling the subroutine for doing certain things, and the other part is returning. Return means the subroutine has finished the work, so it is coming back to the main program with the result. That is called the return process. So mainly two process are involved, calling and return. I think you are clear with what is calling and what is returning. So now we will be coming into what all are the operations is happening when you are calling a subroutine. Usually your program, this is the main program you are having. You can see the program who is asking to do the certain thing to the subroutine, that is called a calling program. You can see the term calling program. So calling program is mentioning like who is asking you to do certain things. Like in our example, I am the calling program and you are the one is the subroutine ones. So I am calling you for doing certain things. So the calling program is me. So usually I will be continuing with my style of teaching. I will be teaching first slide, second slide like that. In between, if I am asking questions, the flow will be disturbing and you will be answering to the query. So in the same way, usually the program will be starting from 1, 2, 3 like that up to 200 the execution has happened. Next should be 2004. We are assuming that each instruction is taking 4 bytes of memory in this example. So the call sub is the function which will be calling a subroutine, calling a function. Call is the keyword which will be using in assembly language program. Call, then the function name will be specifying. So here call sub, it means that it is calling a subroutine. So like sub is just a USN number of yours, so your name like that. The function name it is calling by the main program. So the control will be going to the subroutine sub. This is subroutine sub. So the address actually is mentioning. So the control will be going to 1000. After that, whatever be the your answer that you are telling, that is the subroutine work. So that will be completely that instruction from 1000, 1004, 1008, like that the instructions are executing. Finally, you will be having a return statement. That means, this much is only my answer, whatever it is. So that then again I should only respond. That is what my next instruction, or I should proceed to the next slide. So like that the process will be continuing. So similarly the next instructions address is 2000 200 204. So that how we will be communicating this 200 to 1000, and again after this instruction maybe I am assuming that in 1050 my instruction is present of return. So in 1050 when I am executing the instruction I should go back to 204. So this is the complete program flow of execution. How it is happening whenever a calling program is calling a subroutine, how the control will be going from the main program to the subroutine program, and how the result will be transferring back to the calling program, and how the calling program is resuming its execution. That is actually a subroutine calling procedure that already in C programming you are familiar, that we are just mentioned it with the assembly language syntax, that is call sub, that is the instruction. After that, this is just an example. One return statement will be there that will be returning to the next immediate statement after your call. So for doing this work, we are having two different registers are involving. One is already the program counter that we know, and another one is based on whatever be the program counter content, the next instruction who will be executing will be deciding. So the program counter is one register, and another register is called link register. This is new for you. Till now you were not familiar with this link register. So two registers are involving in subroutine call. One is called program counter and another one is called link register. So what is this program counter register will be doing, and mainly two things will be involving while calling and displaying calling as well as returning the address. So two operations already we have seen, calling the subroutine and returning from the subroutine. That are the two operations performing in the subroutine total process. So what will happen in call procedure we'll see. Call means usually the program counter is executing the 200 memory location. That means so what should be the program counter content? Program counter content should be the address of the next instruction it wants to execute. So what should be the content at this point? If this instruction is executing, that is call sub is trying to execute, before that itself, your program counter has actually updated with value 204, because actually program counter is expecting that the next immediate instruction is 204. Content of program counter, when we are discussing about program counter itself, we were discussed like the next address or next instructions address it was supposed to execute, that will be keeping in the program counter. So program counter was having the value 204, but when it is decoding this instruction like it called to subroutine, decoding means once we are processor is taking this instruction and understanding that what is this instruction is all about, that time it understood that, oh, this is not a normal instruction like add or any other thing, move. It is a calling instruction. It is calling to a subroutine. So what is the thing it should do? The program counter should update. I should not move into 204. 204 was the initial content. Now I should move into where my subroutine is located. Where is the subroutine? 1000 is the subroutine location. So I should go move into 1000 memory location. So that is what is happening in the calling process. So whatever your program counter content, that will be taken and storing in a link register. That is the use of the link register. So the program counter content was 204. That will be taken and it is storing in the link register. And in the same time, your program counter should, instead of executing 204, it should execute what is the where your subroutine is residing. So that is 1000 memory location. So program counter should load with 1000. That are the two operations should happen when you are calling a subroutine. So two things I told you. One is whatever be the current program counter value, that should be copying to a link register. Second work, whatever be the subroutine address, that should be loaded into program counter. That means 204 will be copying to the link register and 1000 will be loaded into program counter. Are you clear with what is calling process? and how the calling process is happening inside the system. So that process is called subroutine linkage. What is the way in which a processor make it possible to call and return? Call a subroutine and return from a subroutine is called a subroutine linkage method. So what I explained, that complete process is called a subroutine linkage method. And you know that we have used a register called a link register. So link register, what is the use of link register in subroutine linkage process? If it is there in the question paper, you should mention about what is a call instruction, what is a return instruction, and what are the things happening in the call and return instruction. Stores the content of program counter in a link register and branches to the subroutine. So there the program counter will be loaded with the address of the subroutine. In the return address, branch to the address contained in the link register. Link register is already contained the previous program counter value, that will be program counter will be loaded with whatever the value in the link register. If you understood from the example, this also I think you got it. So this is all about subroutine process. Other than that, you look into this thing here, that was with respect to a single program call. There you are having only one main program. From that you are just calling a subroutine. But we are having only one link register. So when I am calling this subroutine, first I am keeping the address of the program counter, that is the next instruction, that is B in the link register. But again a next call is coming. So that time I will be keeping this address. So if multiple calls are involving, your link register will be overwriting with some other address, and you couldn't able to get the value whatever was present in the link register. If this is called a nested subroutine. So the program A or the main program is calling subroutine 1. From subroutine 1 it is calling subroutine 2. From subroutine 2 it is calling subroutine 3. So whichever be the first time it is calling, the address will be whatever this address will be keeping in this link register. But the second time from this function the call is coming, so this address will be keeping in this register. So the already previous value was lost because the register is holding only one value. So in the case of nesting subroutine, we can't use link register. We should move for some other options because the register will be storing at a time only one value. In this case, the subroutines are calling repeatedly one after the main program is calling subroutine 1 is calling subroutine 2 is calling subroutine 3. After that, from subroutine 3 is finished, it should go back to subroutine 2. Once subroutine 2 has finished, it should go back to subroutine 1. Once subroutine 1 has finished, then only it will be going to the main program. Then the main program will be finishing. This is the total flow of execution. Here, actually, one register was not sufficient to hold. Multiple addresses are involved. Return addresses, multiple, from here one return statement is there, here also one is there, here also one is there. So 3 times return statement is there. So to which address it should go back, that value we don't know. So one register is not sufficient in this case. Here actually we are using stack. Here actually we are using stack. So you can see for nested subroutine, after the last subroutine in the nested list complete the execution, the return address is returned to the execution of to the return instruction. The return instruction of the last one that was generated in the nested call sequence. Main point is only this: if multiple or nested subroutine calls are involving in the program, we are using, instead of a link register, we are using a stack. That is the only point you should study from this slide. In this case, I think you understood what I am telling you. Here only one function call was there, so you can use the link register for storing the address. But if the program is having multiple function call or nested subroutine, that time one link register or one register was not sufficient for holding multiple return addresses. That time we are using a stack for holding these values. With corresponding to every program, usually we will be having a stack frame. So this is actually a function. Draw square is a function. So with respect to that function, it will be having its own local variables and Once this function is finished, it should go to a return address. So that address will be storing, and other parameters for means the function for executing this function, maybe this certain parameter will be taken from some other function or from the calling function. So that will also be mentioning. For example, I am just writing the function like draw square is the function. So in that function, it is accepting two variables. I am just writing like a int a, comma, int b square was the function we are having. So it was accepting two input parameter int a and b. Think that the square, the values what is required for the function, or only one parameter is also sufficient int a. So I just want to calculate the square. So square is having only one dimension. So all the four measure, four length, breadth, everything will be the same value. So I am just reading one integer value int a. So inside that I am just finding the area of the square. So the equation and all other functions will be there. So the parameter for the draw square function, that is the a. So that is the this variable. And once this a complete program execution has over, wherever this rs was calling. So this is the function from there I am calling rs4 I am calling. So with the 4, this is the calling function. Maybe some other I am just writing like main. This is the main function. From that, I am just calling the rs function. So rs4 I have called. So it was coming into here. So the 4 was mentioned over here. So what will be happening? This is the calling input parameter for 4 is assigned with a. So that is the parameter for drawing it. And other than that, if the rs function is creating, it has its own local variables. Assuming that int a, int area. So this is a new variable which I have declared inside my rs function. So that is called the local variables of rs. Other than that, once this control has finished, or once the execution of this uh, draw, sorry, this is ds draw square function has finished, the control should go back to the next instruction after your draw s4. So that are the information we will be storing inside the stack with respect to every functions. If you are having multiple functions, with respect to all these multiple functions, these data will be storing. What I was trying to tell is what you meant by the parameters for the draw square. Parameters for the draw square is the variables which are involved. And the return address means where the control will be going back. And local variables means what all are the extra variables you are declared inside that function. So these are the things you are inserting into a stack if it is a nested subroutine. So that complete thing we will be calling as a stack frame. What is a stack frame? The local variable details, return address with details, and the input parameters coming from the other calling part. So all those data will be storing, and it is separately we will be calling as stack frame. So that is all about parameter passing schemes. And other than that, when we are studied about data, sorry, C programming language, we have discussed about two different parameter passing schemes. One is pass by value and the second one is pass by reference. Did you study this? What is the pass by value and what is pass by reference? Yes, ma'am. Okay, you studied. I will only tell pass by value means the value exact 4 or 5, that value itself will be transferring to the function. For example, you are having a function called add. So add is the function void add or void add, whatever the add function. Inside that you are having two parameters int a int b. So the value itself 4 and 5 are the value you are giving. That value itself is coming, then it is called as pass by value. Instead of that, even you are having a option for 4 and 5 you can store in a memory location, and that memory location's address you can transfer. So that is called as a pointer you can transfer. So that is called pass by reference. So here also the parameter passing, you will be having multiple options. The things are One is pass by value and one is pass by reference. That only the parameter passing schemes here also. Other than that, what are the different hardwares involved, or what are the other registers or memory locations are involved? That we will be seeing. So what is parameter passing method scheme is was just mentioning when you are calling a subroutine, the subroutine may need certain parameter from the calling part, and that is called input parameters, and that parameters will be giving for the subroutine for its computation. Once the computation for the subroutine has finished, its result will be transferring back into the calling program, and that process is called parameter passing. So what is parameter passing? May I ask that time whatever you know about this function call, that story only you should write. Parameters will be transferring into the subroutine, and that subroutine will be doing the operation and result will be transferring back into the calling program, and that process is called parameter passing. And parameter passing approaches. So when that are the approaches we are having, one is pass by value, the second is pass by reference. So here also the same thing. Here also the same thing. What is passed by value and what is passed by value? Passed by value, you are having multiple options. You are having multiple options. The parameter may be placed in a register or even in a memory location. The parameters where you can place, parameters can be placed. One option is the parameters can keep in the register. From the register, even the calling program as well as the subroutine will be taking the data. Second one is memory locations. Memory locations means the data will be placing in a memory location, and that memory location address will be transferring back to the calling program. Other option is if the processor is having, if the number of parameters are too high, we can even use stack for data transfer. So that are the options for parameter passing. What are the options? One is the data directly can place inside the register. Second one, the data can place in a memory location. Its address can be transferred. If lot of data you should transfer, that time even you can use a stack for transferring the parameters. So this is the example which will be giving you an idea about how can you use a register for data transfer. So this is a calling program. So move n comma r1. R1 is just a register, and move num1 comma r2. Call list add. This program I think I already discussed, and move r0 sum. So what is called by value? R1 is a register. Their exact value I have kept. So their exact value I have kept, that is called by passed by value. N is just a number. From this is the number one. So number one is just mentioning an address. From number one, next number two address will be getting, then number three address will be getting. So this is the address of the first number you are having. So here R2 will be keeping an address. That's why this is called pass by reference. Here N is representing 10 values I want to add. This is a program for adding the 10 numbers. So n R1 is just representing a counter. Counter means how many values you want to add. So here n is representing, assume that 10 values I want to add. So R1 is keeping an address. Next move num1 comma R2. So what is num1? Num1 is the address of the first number you are having in the list. So you are having from 1000 onwards, your numbers will be starting. So 1000 will be keeping, first number will be in 1000, next number will be in 1004. Like that, the elements, 10 elements will be present in this memory location. So first memory number address will be given here, that is R2. Then after that, it is calling the function, that is list add. How this list add will be working? See, here when you are looking, R1 is the register. This function also is accessing. That is, this subroutine is also accessing R1. Even R1 value I kept in the calling program, but the same register content updating by the subroutine. Similarly, you can see R0 is the result we are keeping. That result will be keeping back into the, when you keep the result, one by one number will be taken. First address will be num1, that is 1000. Then R2 plus means it will be going into 1004. Then next one is 1008, like that. Every time 111 value from this continuous memory location has taken, and that will be added to R0 content. So R0, initially the R0 value was 0. So the first number will be added in the first time. Then it is decrementing R1. R1 value was 10. So one value was reduced. So it became 9. Again, branch greater than 0 loop. This is the same code we have seen when I discussed about branching and sequential statement. So R1 value is equal to 0, then branch will be 0. If R1 is having any positive value, branch greater than 0 will also return true. That means in the first case it was 10. Now one value has reduced, it is a 9. 9 is again a positive value, so it will be going into the looping structure. Again, the next number, that is 1004, will be taken and it is added to R0. Again, when the return statement has coming, then the function control will be going back to the next statement after your call. What is that statement will be doing? Move R0 contents to some variable. What is R0? All these 10 values are added and the result is storing into R0 that was transferred to some variable. So this is all about function call with respect to by using call by value and call by reference. We can use registers, even memory addresses, or even when you are having multiple data, you can even use stack also. So this is all about today's session. The last topic of our first module is logical operators and encoding scheme.